Alright, so this is going to be a comparison video. I know it's kind of rough. I didn't brush my hair or anything today. I just got up. I feel like shit. It's alright. So I got a strut bar for a 1995 Toyota Corolla. It's got 78,000 miles on it, original, which is crazy. It was a grandma car for a while. So I just want to see how it affects the steering. I recently got new tires put on. They're Cooper CS3 all seasons, and an alignment. They've got probably less than 1,000 miles on them. And I mean, it's a front wheel drive car, of course. Automatic, 4-speed. It's a 4-cylinder. It has allegedly like 105 horsepower. That's at the crank, probably. It's weird driving automatic. So I'm gonna take it through some twisties just so I can kind of get a feel for the car again. Haven't really driven it much in a while. See how the steering feels, and put the strut bar on and come back and see what it's like. Now the car does have power steering. I don't know if that was like an option or not in 95, but if it was, we got it. The steering has never been the most precise kind of feel. It's I don't necessarily want to say there's play in the wheel. I mean, you can do it. You could jiggle the wheel, and it kind of, you can feel it do something, but it's just vague, right? And there's not a crazy amount of feedback from stuff. We're going around a couple of little turns here, not too fast, 40-ish, and I mean, it's there, you know. The car's pretty low to the ground. They were like that in you know, the mid-90s still. They hadn't started raising them up, so it's pretty low. It's as low, maybe even lower than the Mazda Speed Protege I had, and it's definitely lower than the Mazda Speed 6 that I have. Back to the steering, the Protege that I had, the Speed, that thing had a crazy sensitive steering wheel. Like, it was super responsive. I mean, you moved that, you spun that thing a millimeter and you knew you were going in a different direction. It was pretty awesome. Try and drive up this hill. It's got some twisties in it. It's kind of fun. It's really the only fun part of my drive to or from work. So I'll see what it feels like in it. Yes. I'm kind of pushing it a little bit. And went around that turn about 40. Wheel started to, you could feel they're about to go. Starting to slip a little bit, I guess. It's kind of cold. It's like 35 out. There's some moisture on the ground, and you know, it's not like the best conditions, but it's not terrible. It's not like wet. It's just like it, you know, it's drying, but it's not dry yet. So I've heard some of the things that strut bars will do. Not only sometimes they will help with roll, with body roll, and you know, that should help your handling some. I've also heard people that have done them and they didn't get that, just with cars in general, not necessarily a 95 Corolla, that they've done them and they didn't really notice any body roll difference, but they did notice that it greatly affected how the steering felt. It was a lot sharper. So that's what I'm hoping to get, at least that out of this strut bar. I mean, like I said, it's a mid-90s Toyota with 78,000 miles on it. And we don't put a whole lot of miles on it. This thing's gonna last until I retire, probably, when I'm 95. So if I can do something to make this car a little bit more fun, I will. I mean, the only thing I've done to this performance-wise is, thus far, is I took the snorkel for the air filter box off, and I put in a performance drop-in filter. The only difference between a 95 and a 94 Corolla, engine-wise, is the intake. And the 94 Corolla had 115 horsepower, and the 95 has 105. So I was like, oh, well, this is a free mod. You know, I took it off and it felt peppier. It still feels peppier than it did. I mean, it's not like drastic, but it's enough where you know there's a difference, and the mileage didn't change, so might as well keep it, right? All right, we're back in the garage, and I'm gonna install the strut bar, and it should only take 15-20 minutes probably, and then we'll go back out. All right, we're back out on the road. Install done. Took about 23 minutes. That included me having to get tools together and not realizing I needed a bigger Allen wrench than what I had on hand. Yeah, out in the garage with me, cutting everything open, etc. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was 6 bolts. I did break down and go and get a power tool as opposed to just doing it with a ratchet the whole time. No initial really impressions because I'm just been going straight. So you know, I'd like to say, oh, it's tighter, but all I've done was turn out of the driveway, and I don't think you're going to notice anything there. So neglected to mention, it is a Megan Racing strut bar. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. If it is Megan, that's one chick I'd like to meet. That's for sure. I did have a little trouble getting it in onto the threads, getting it to line up, just because I didn't know what I was doing, I guess. So once I loosened the Allen bolts up, so the what goes onto your strut tower actually was hinged, you know, and could go on right, and it went right on. It's perfect. Okay, we're going back up the twisties. We'll see if I can actually feel a difference. I'd like to say I've felt a difference so far, but I think it's just wishful thinking, you know? Like I tried to do like a little shimmy on the steering wheel to see like if it felt more responsive, and I'd like to think so, but again, I think that's all it is I'd like to think so. Went around that turn a little faster, about 45. So I mean, maybe it with this car, it probably helps with body roll more than it would steering response. Just, I mean, it's 21 years old, and it sat for a couple years. It was covered, but it wasn't like enclosed. It was in a garage with no garage door, essentially, is what it was. So I mean, it's, you know, is what it is. But I think, you know, if nothing else, it helps make the engine bay look cool, because that's what you want out of a 21-year-old Corolla. It was a badass looking engine bay. Another thing I just noticed, it didn't seem to add any power, which is odd to me. Like, people get power like by lowering their car. They get power by putting stickers on. I put on a strut bar. Not feeling any more oomph. All right, we're back in the garage now, and whatever impressions. Honestly, I don't really think I noticed much of a difference, if at all. It's probably just wishful thinking, though I will say at slow speed, tight turns, like pulling back into the driveway, it did feel different, tighter maybe. That I don't know if that's more steering or more body roll. Like I said, 21-year-old car, it's going to be, a lot of stuff's going to be kind of loose. I'm going to check the strut bar and see if anything loosened up, like the bolts backed out or not, you know what I mean. I don't know. weren't quite tight enough or so. They felt pretty tight, but you know, moving around something might have loosened up. So I'll give it a shot.
Checked everything. Everything's pretty solid. So I mean, we'll give it a few days, drive around and check it again, see if anything loosens up. I don't think it will. Cheers.